Gather, children, sit for a spell. I'll tell you of black witches and where we dwell. Tituba, though great, not the first of our kind. With magical DNA, flip our heritage and rewind. Stolen our language and mystical beliefs, our evolution left from text so our children won't speak or seek. As the chiefs have their guns and wartime brute force, the priestess has her ancestors and spirits, of course, who direct and change history's course. We've toiled in the earth, black witches' blood spilled, shame eradicated, beat down. Hear our cries, feel our shrills. It is here where I invite you. It is here where I'll spend. Come in, children, come in. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Black Witch University. I am your host, Lakeesha Harris.
And I am your co-host, Lorena Elizabeth.
And we are so excited to get into our topic this time. For those of you who are following our Facebook and Patreon, our social media everywhere, we have been doing what is called the Black Ancestors Matter series, and lifting up our heritage of Black witchcraft and conjure, and the folks, the Black people who led the way, who laid the groundwork, who specifically Black people on this soil of America, the United States, and what they have given to Black culture that has sustained us, kept us here, and doing it against all odds. And I've been so very excited to present that series. I mean, it has taken a lot of love work, research, years, wouldn't you say? Because we have been talking about this for a while, Lorena and I, about developing this series, but other things in relation to this. And so we're very excited to bring it to you. We hope that it is resonating with you, that you learn something, that you carry the name of one of our witch ancestors, conjure ancestors with you, and keep their energy. Yeah, because it has been, just when you tap into them, I feel like they stay around you, like their energy. They really are like, hey,
around. Yeah, they. In my experience, like the closer you are with your ancestors, even your close friends, if your close friends are going through it, like my ancestors have visited my friends who are in pain. They've called me, oh, I just had the most amazing dream about your grandma or your Uncle Willie. So like the more active you are, the more you speak to them, the more you feel for them, the more you remember them and keep them at the top of your mind and honor them, they're reciprocating that.
Yes, absolutely.
Not only for you. That's the thing that I've discovered, like not only for you, but also for the people that you love.
Your babies. Oh, yes. They be so wrapped around your children.
Definitely the kids.
And be there before you know it, before you even realize that they're there, or you're reclaiming their names. Wouldn't you say, Lorena? Because like I know mine be all in my children's business.
I mean, I call them lurkers, because they are lurking. They're always lurking. And they will, like in a bind, in a pinch, they will pop up. And everyone has had that experience where I don't know how I got out of that, or I don't know how I knew not to do that, or I just don't know how this miracle happened. And 9 times out of 10, it's ancestors.
Yeah. Oh, tell them about that. Tell everybody, maybe you don't want to share this, but I remember when you got into that accident and you were saying that your grandmother's voice was like, wake up or something. So the voice said mom, but I feel like that's the word, because I'm mom. That's the word that kind of popped out, like that they knew would snap me out of wherever I was. But I was driving on the expressway
And, you know, just 70 miles an hour, traffic is moving, just moving. Suddenly, I hear a voice yell, "Mom." And I'm just driving, right? And there was a semi right in front of me, like stopped with no brake lights on in the middle of the highway. And I had to swerve at the last minute. I mean, we're talking 6 or 7 feet away, driving 60 miles an hour. My car turned up on 2 wheels, spun around several times, and then like crashed into the back of the semi. Like it was insane. Like I don't know where that voice came from. I don't know how I didn't hit that semi. Like we would have perished. Okay. Like undoubtedly. And not only that, I was knocked unconscious. When I came to, there was a nurse at my car. She had put the oximeter on my finger and had her fucking stethoscope. And there was another woman holding my hand praying. And then there were like 3 men outside, like directing the traffic. And it was crazy. Like all these people just showed up. And I totally felt the presence of my grandmother, most especially when this woman was like holding my hand and just praying her butt off. Like that's definitely what my granny would have done.
And I think you said that you didn't see that woman after that. If I remember correctly, you were like, I don't remember who she was or where she was. She vanished.
She just was gone. She just was gone.
And to see that is how the ancestors show up, y'all. I mean, I can't even recount the number of times mine have been like very clear. When my father comes, he smells like his cologne. I really feel his essence, and he's always around when I have to make major decisions in my life. He's like, but he had told me, he's like, I'm going to be there with you every step of the way. He's like, no matter where you are, I'm going to be there. And this is before he died. I'm going to be every step of the way until we see each other again. And he has held that promise. He has always protected my boys. I remember when I was about to move from Chicago to New Orleans, he showed up in a dream because he was like, don't ever take my grandsons down south. He was wrongfully convicted and locked up in a jail in Georgia. And so he was like, I don't want you to ever take my grandsons. But when Malcolm got into Southern University, because hey, I wanted to pay my money. If I was going to pay my money, I was going to pay it to a Black, historically Black university. And so I was like, apply to a Southern, and I want to go back to New Orleans. And he's like, okay. So he got in, and my dad, I was really worried about what my daddy would say. And he showed up in the dream, and he was like, he's going to get in, and I give you my blessing to go. And in fact, I'm going to go with you. I'm going to protect you. I am going to make sure that the boys are protected. And he has not let me down.
I love us.
I do too. I love us too.
I love us. Like our connection to like our families it's just, it doesn't exist anywhere else. You know, that the Black barbecue, it does not cease upon death.
No,
okay?
The Black barbecue don't.
Family reunions, come on. They're all there. We're all together.
They're giving us the recipe. You know? They're giving us the recipe.
Yes.
Y'all be like, oh, what did grandma put in the barbecue sauce? How did grandma prepare the meats or the veggies? And then it pops in your mind, and know that is ancestral messages.
Yes.
Which brings me to the fact that I feel like what BWU, what Black Witch University is gifting our community is something very special, something near and dear to my heart. And that is not just the setting up an ancestral altar, because anybody can teach you how to do that. If you're a spirit worker, that's something relatively easy to do. But gifting you parts of ourself, our knowledge that we have acquired over time, and with a lot of strenuous lifting to acquire,
a lot of trial and error.
Yeah, right. And so it led me to, and I've been wanting to do this for a long time, which is the genealogy piece. So I am not a genealogist. What I was in graduate school was an archival intern, and I helped people do their genealogy searches. If they came into the Illinois State Archive, when I was at Northeastern Illinois University, I would help them with probate records, historical documents, research any archival information that we held, but also investigate like the names and retrieve their names to their families and so forth and so on. So I learned by doing, by putting my feet on the ground. I did not go to college for genealogy. In fact, my degrees are in women and gender studies and political science, but it's all apt and it's all relative, looking in historical documentation and research. So I want to just be honest and give you all that background. So I'm giving you what I have learned, which is a good footing to start your genealogy study.
Very good.
Right?
Don't short sell yourself. Like this woman has been working so hard on this for years. Okay. What is it? Going on 3 years now, isn't it? Yeah. So she may not be, an official genealogist, but she is putting in the work. And
well, shoot.
For most of us lay people, like what she's doing is really paving a way for a lot of us to get into it and just simplify it. It's, we are like, oh, it's too hard. It's too like, we can't do it. It's easier than you think. And we have wonderful Lakeesha who has done it all for us and is now going to show us how we can follow in her footsteps and really reclaim our histories.
Yeah. And it's so fun. It's so much fun. Like, okay, so it can be a little bit daunting, just reclaiming one name, right? You're going to look through documentations. Our ancestors changed their names after they got out of enslavement on this land, right? They would change it. For the first time, they got to maybe even reclaim whatever they knew about their heritage or completely just change the name. So the first part and the first series will be collecting the names and collecting the stories. So that will be February the 21st. And if you are a part of our Patreon, that's being offered to everybody that's a part of our Patreon. Unfortunately, because I had to pay for that knowledge, I'm still paying in student loan debt. And because Black women's labor matters, I will not be sharing that information for free. I mean, it's something that you can learn from other people. I'm sure that a lot of scholars are doing something similar. But this will be an intimate conversation for the folks on our Patreon. We do give y'all a lot of free information. In fact, the whole Black Ancestor Matter series is a reclaiming of ancestral names, and that has been given for free. But the people who are definitely spending a little coin, sustaining Black Witch University, sustaining the Mother Witches to keep doing this work, this is something special that will be offered. So that's February the 21st, and the information is listed on our Patreon and all of our social media. And then February 28th, we're doing the archival and genealogy searches. A lot of this information, y'all, like a lot of people sign up for Ancestry, which I am definitely on, because at this part of my journey, I'm actually creating all kinds of family trees and retrieving the documents and census data and so forth and so on. So I needed some place to put it. But at the beginning, you really can utilize some of these free archival informations, low-cost archival informations, and just tools that are at your disposal that are really low cost.
And I do think that Ancestry, if you've never used it, they give like a week or two, in some instances even a month, of free access. So I mean, you can also look up, there might be other platforms that do the same thing. So if you can get those free subscriptions and then really get on it and use it up, like do as much as you can in the amount of time that you have, before you get charged if you don't want to pay for it.
Yeah. And another site, I think that is like, what is it? Ancestry and Me. There's a few of them that actually
23andMe.
23andMe. That's it. And then there's another site, I believe, that traces your heritage. And I'll get all of this information and have it ready for you all for our discussions. But it traces your ancestral heritage, what tribe you were a part of, and
I think it's stuff. My heritage or my African heritage or something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
Or they do the matrilineal DNA and like match you up on the continent, right? Yeah. I think that was really more expensive, but it's like people are finding out. Yeah. I want to do that. It's worth it too.
But what I really want you all, and I feel like, and this is maybe just me, but I'm finding out this is not just me. I have fallen in love with my ancestors and the struggle that they have had to endure on this continent. I know that everybody wants to go back to Africa and romanticizes Africa, and I do love Africa and the heritage that I found out that I come from, and I am just in love with the medicine that we carry, that we made work on this soil, that we persevered, the struggle we persevered through that got me here on this land, thriving, doing things that I never thought I could before. And so I have fallen in love with the Black American ancestor and that story, and reclaiming those immediate names has been so very powerful. And within the context of these discussions, I am definitely going to talk about adoption, because you all have options when family lines have ceased to exist.
Me.
Yeah, because of adoption. And we were just talking about that, Lorena. And I think one of our patrons put that up in a discussion. So yeah, we can talk about that.
Yeah, my mom is adopted, y'all. So, I used a seer to help me, guide me toward information about my mother's family. So she dropped a whole name, and I was able to get a lot of information just because the seer told me like his actual name. I was like, wow.
Yeah,
it blew my mind. So it opened up like a lot of information, but there's still like a lot of records still, like the hospital records are sealed, but I've made a lot of progress. So too, you guys, there are some unorthodox methods too that come into play when doing these searches.
Yeah, and there are ways,
definitely unorthodox.
And there's ways in the court, right, that you can pick up those names. You can petition the court, even when they're sealed, to like try to get them unsealed so that you can get access to your heritage, especially in cases where there is like a medical need for that information, So there are ways and methods you can go about that. And also, I mean, I know a lot of people got apprehension to these DNA tests, but I'm here to tell you, baby, if you've been in a hospital for any kind of procedure, any blood tests, they got your information. They sure so do. You need to start reclaiming these names.
And also read the fine print, because with these tests now, you have the option to opt out of any type of sharing or cross-sharing of your information.
Absolutely.
So, that is now an option where you do not have to participate in any outside thing, other than just finding out, where you're from, and if you have any like relatives out there that you don't know about.
Yeah, it's going to be key. It's going to be key. And so our why are we doing it? Why does Black ancestors matter to the Black witch, to the Black spiritualist, to the Black person seeking to go into ATR? And for me, one of my primary purposes to bring in this series was, first and foremost, doing that connection to our ancestors is a direct and most safest link to our spiritual source, right? And these are ancestors, and granted, if we got ancestors that we don't want to make connections to, you can politely say to the spirit, I don't want connections, and you can close off. There is ritual around there, and you can close them off and be like, you are not welcome in my house, you are not welcome in my energy, what have you. But there is also some very direct healing for places in which those ancestors have been harmful. You can transmute that energy. There's a lot of healing. So for all the trauma that we've experienced via our ancestors, via our elders, there is equal and more massive amount of healing that can occur when we tap into that ancestral source. What do you think around that, Lorena?
I think that's very true. I mean, like we talked about at the beginning, like they're with us anyway. They're here. They're with us. Like we need to kind of integrate that into our lives, and we want everyone to have this information, to have this knowledge, the know-how to understand what it means to walk with your ancestors, to understand like the things that they went through to get us to where we are now, and to understand that, like, yeah, we all have a longing or a yearning for the motherland, but the mother is within us. So we're walking this land. Okay.
Absolutely.
Our blood, sweat, and tears covers this country. Okay. So this is our land too. You know what I mean? Like, we built this.
As my honey say, you better speak Black to me, honey.
History Month,
speak Black to me.
Come on. The whole United States is Black history, because we've been here since day one, building this place. Okay? We did that.
Yes.
And we must never, ever lose sight of that. Every month is Black History Month, in my opinion. Absolutely. My daughter came to me. She's 14. She just turned 14. She's like, why did they give the shortest month of the year for Black History Month? And I'm like, yeah, always trying to get a dig in, right? Always trying to send some kind of message. And it is true, 28 days as opposed to 30 or 31 days, throwing crumbs or something.
Throwing shade.
Every month is Black History Month.
Right.
But we're going to take this opportunity where everybody's watching, and we're going to shine so people can just keep coming back and keep remembering and keep honoring, not just one month out of the year, but every month, because we deserve that. We do, because we're here. We're still getting, we're not where we should be. So, but we're going to keep showing up, and we're going to keep being loud. We're gonna stay in the limelight, in your face, in your ears, because we deserve to be here, and we deserve to shine, and we deserve to excel. And we need to showcase all the reasons why, all that we've done, all that we've accomplished. It's something to be proud of.
Yes. You're something to be proud of. And that is why connecting to your ancestors brings you more into alignment with who you are as a Black witch, as a Black spiritualist, as a community member within ATR and within your ELA, within your household. For me, when I first started on my journey to being a priestess, the first thing that my padrino told me was, you got to set up your spiritual boveda, like set up your spiritual arc that consists of greeting your ancestors and connecting to your ancestors and reclaiming their names. And, so the first thing that you do and your first source that you're guided to when you're entering an ATR is connect to your ancestors. That's your first spiritual source. That energy does not exist outside of you. It is them directing you to yourself. It is them rooting you in who you are. It is them having you tap into your recipes, your divine power, your divine seat of wisdom. That is then when you start to ascend in your journey, if that makes sense. So yeah, everything Lorena said and more. I mean, and the other question is, okay, so that answers the why, right? And then what do you get out of it? Like once you tap into this ancestral source, this energy, what can be expected? What can be expected, Lorena? All kinds of foolery.
All kinds of wonderful things. New cars, money, jobs.
Talk about it. Talk about
answered
it.
prayers. Like, come on, you're eyeballing somebody. You need that courage. Like, come on, they might pop up and call you because your granddaddy is over there. Like, you should call that girl. I mean, they just show up in all kinds of ways. You guys, like, let me tell you, I needed a new car. Okay. And I told Lakeesha, I'm driving my POS car down the street to a doctor's appointment. And I drive past this dealership and this voice, like somebody is in the car with me. It's like, as soon as you get done at the doctor, come back to this car dealership immediately. And I was just like, okay, sure, because, a voice said, come here as soon as you're done. So I went to my doctor's appointment. I came back to the dealership and this boy comes from out of nowhere, like shining, looking like Archangel Gabriel or something. We're talking about, well, how can I help you, miss? And so we went inside and he was like, well, what are you looking for? And I had a very specific set of wants. I said, I want an American SUV, leather, sunroof, all the bells and whistles. He talking about, well, we have a Hyundai. I said, American, everything, automatic, fucking moonroof. I want the works. And then he left, and he came back, and he's like, I have just the thing. And I had to do the paperwork. He did the paperwork. He's like, you don't have to make any down payment.
And period.
Here's the keys. This is your car. 30,000 miles on the car. Like, I mean, come through, ancestors. That was my grandma and grandpa. Like, here you go, girl. You need this. Because I kept getting like lemon after lemon, used car after used car. And something was always going wrong. And I was always having to do like $300 or $400 worth of maintenance or fix something every couple months. So I needed that.
And it rides smooth, baby. Oh, I love being in
gorgeous.
That car. Yes.
I mean, it's a beautiful car, but it's just like, I was just driving down the street, and the voice said, come back here. You will not be sorry. You better bring your ASS back to this place right here. Mm-hmm. So I did it, and boom. I just couldn't believe it. Like, I didn't have to put any money down. That was the biggest shocker to me. Like, oh, you don't have to, like, what? I don't have 800 credit, you guys.
And let me tell you something. And let me tell you something else, how the spirit showed up with that in mind. I remember our last retreat right before the pandemic, and we were together, and both of us was like, ooh, I want this, and this is what I want. And
The
didn't we
cars?
get it? Yeah.
Yes.
Didn't we get it? They lined
Look,
up right next to
we
each
saw
other.
a Jeep and a Mustang next to each other in the parking lot. Okay. And that's her dream car. And my dream car was a Mustang. And within a year, she had her Jeep, I had my Mustang.
Yeah. They will show you like the dream, and they will show you what they are about to manifest in your life. It's a matter if you believe it. Mm-hmm. And so these ancestors are not for play. If you open yourself up to them, they really are your primary source. They are the first that I greet in the morning. They are the first that I honor, and I think about them whenever I'm going to make a move. You know, sometimes I can be a little bit of a hothead, and they're like, "Baby girl," I can hear my daddy's voice saying, "Baby girl, get it together, like calm down, put some water on your Uri." Like, and then also on the downside, where we're losing so many, right? We have ancestors going over daily right now due to COVID. There also is an increase in violence in Chicago, in New Orleans, all around, as
New York, everywhere.
Yeah, everywhere. We're losing so many, y'all. LA. And and ancestors aren't just like old people. They've been our babies, our sisters, our brothers. And if we think about the loss of them in the physical world, that we'll never have access to them again, that can be depressing. Yeah. And one reason to tap into them is that healing source that they can provide for you. You know, it can be healing to think that, like, I don't get to see them in the physical, but they definitely, and for sure, if you're open to it, will appear in the spiritual. Like, they will be very visible. Sure. Yeah. Very visible.
In many ways. Like Lakeesha said, showing up with smells. Like you might smell like a cigarette smoke, you might smell a cologne, you might smell some food cooking. You know, anything, kerosene, any kind of odd smells. Like, and also another thing that I want people to notice is that things misplaced. I know I set my keys over here, not over here, or I set my glass here or not there, or my earrings or my glasses or my chapstick, like something moved a little bit. The scents and odors, sometimes you might hear a sound, and like that clear audience, like I have, like just hearing a voice plain as day telling you something. Don't write these things off as coincidence. You know, once one thing happens, reach out. And if you're not sure who that is, just start, you know, make your altar and appeal. My ancestors who are closest to me, I may not know your name, but help me to understand, help me to reveal your name. I want to get to know you. I want to know who you are. And they will. They definitely will.
Yeah, they will start to bring you the names. They will start to open those doors, right? Especially for those who have been adopted and don't know your family. What I encourage you to do is start to set up those ancestor altars anyway, and in a frame, right? I mean, do calligraphy, write in something beautiful. Those ancestors that are unnamed. And watch them start to come to you and provide the names. They will provide the names. They will open up the doors or bump you or connect you into someone who knows the names. You know, you're not alone. We invite you to come to the classes and start to engage with our Patreon. We are putting a lot of beautiful work into it. I know y'all noticed the shifts and the changes, and there is more to come. So February 21st, the collecting of the stories. I will tell you how to do that. February 28th, it will be the archive and genealogy searches. I will show you how to do that, and you will be given those beautiful foundations to go and reclaim your ancestors. Because why? Black ancestors matter.
Black ancestors matter.
And then in March, for Women's History Month, Lorena will be doing some honoring of the goddesses. Come on, it's gonna be spring.
Come through, y'all.
It's gonna be spring. Tell them a little bit about how you envision that.
Well, I just want to kind of invite in that divine feminine, and too, the seasons are going to be changing. Springtime, things are going to be starting to bloom. It's going to be warming up. So we just want to kind of invite that nurturing into ourselves. So I just want, also the way that we're tapping into the ancestors, we're going to be tapping into that divine feminine energy. So we'll be probably reviewing a couple of different goddesses who kind of relate to different aspects of what that means, of the divine feminine, different aspects of who we are, what we want to achieve for the year, like things that we want, self-growth and self-empowerment. So that's what we're going to be doing for the month of March.
Yeah,
for all of us women.
You're going to be getting so much beautifulness, so much amazing stuff that is coming out of BWU. We have opened up a little bit more, that now that we have our footing a little bit more. BWU was such a beautiful baby, and now the baby has growing up and expanding its reach and spreading its wings. So I'm very excited about all of this beautifulness that is coming and being birthed through both of us, as we also are being reborn. I know my rebirthing process is I'm still in my year in white, y'all. So this is, so it's still some newness coming from me. And I see Yemaya, who is the head and not the tail, and my crown is doing some amazing things in me. So I'm very excited. We thank y'all for listening and tuning in, and we look forward to connecting with y'all once again.
We love you guys. We appreciate you.
Have a good manifestation in these Black History Month. Tap into them ancestors, y'all. Bye.
And remember, you all deserve good things. We deserve good things. All good things.
Ashe.